Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
This is Off the Rack, the show where we take books from this past week, recap and review them for you, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you a bunch of books that come out this coming week that we think you should pick up as recommendations. People seem to like that aspect of the show, so I make sure to mention it in the intro. We've been away for a little while because of New York Comic Con.
Yes.
Largest con in our area for the year, and so as a result, we spent all 4 days there. Hobnobbing and, kicking back and hanging out with different colleagues and reestablishing relationships and whatnot. It was not a big production weekend for us, unfortunately. We didn't get a chance to shoot a lot of stuff. We did shoot part of an episode of Back Issues, which you'll see this coming week. But otherwise, it's kind of it. You may also have seen probably the bulk of our content on our Instagrams. If you go over to Instagram.com/ComicPOPofficial, it's over there in the description box below this video. And also, of course, everywhere where our stuff is found, like our subreddit, for example, or our Patreon, or any other places where you like us or find our stuff. But if you check that, you'll find a bunch of different fun photos of the show, which I figure will it's going to be a little shorter week this week for us because it was kind of a really slow week for comics. The big week
was the week we were
was last week.
It was like nothing but magic books, and I was like, I'm still behind.
And you're still catching up.
Still behind, yeah.
Because we have to. I mean, not only are you running the Purple Channel and you have all these streams going on, but you're also super busy doing any number of various tasks and
we
projects.
Had to shoot a Back Issues this week.
We did. We had we had to shoot our Halloween themed Back Issues, and we had to shoot a catch-up episode that was part of the New York Comic Con episode.
Yes.
Just a lot of shooting and a lot of just catching up.
Yeah.
Which is funny how it's like, a big trade industry show can cause so much mayhem and cause such little production. We did have a chance to meet up with a few colleagues, but we're going to get into that at the end of the episode. I thought what we do is we just do a few recaps, give you some recommendations, and then we're going to talk about Comic-Con. And just kind of give you a little lowdown. I was thinking about doing a full comic line about it, but nobody wants to watch that. No. So let's just dedicate it here. And also we can address any questions. And by the way, if you are a newcomer to the show, welcome to Off the Rack. This is a show where we take comics from last week, review them, recap them, tell you what we thought about them, give you recommendations. If you want to participate, use the super chat. It's a way for us to actually distinguish, just isolate questions without derailing the entire show.
Yes.
We're trying very hard to stay on task and just make a cohesive show that you all want to watch.
And moving it along.
Exactly. Moving it along. That's what's most important. Is not necessarily the thing you're watching; it's the next thing you're watching. So let's jump into some books that we think that we read.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I want to address Jordan, who says, "Have you seen the first episode of Titans?" DC Universe launched officially, and Titans is out. I think all 21 episodes are out. We actually have the Titans app. And
the DC
Universe app, which has Titans on it. And no, I have not seen the first episode of Titans. I've heard a lot of things. I'm looking forward to judging for myself and actually just determining what I think about it when I actually see the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited to see it, though.
Me too.
You know what I did watch, though?
What?
If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? The episode of the Riddler on Batman the Animated Series when he first debuts.
Yes,
and
I started watching that, and then I was busy because we had also celebrated a friend's birthday.
Yes, she may be in the chat right now.
Well, maybe she is. But yeah, it wasn't her birthday week, but our moderator Danielle, we celebrated her birthday yesterday. And there was a lot of baking going on that night. So, thankfully you didn't watch Titans because I would have totally missed it.
Oh, no, I'm not going to watch without you.
I was like, okay, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. That was a lot of work. But, yes, Danielle just celebrated her birthday, so if you get a chance, wish her a happy birthday.
Yes.
And, so let's jump into that while you are all regaling her with your birthday wishes. Okay, there's a lot of books that I want to just make sure we cover.
Okay.
There's one book that in particular that I was like, okay, I really, really can't wait to talk about this one because it is so... It's been long awaited. Why is Tiffany doing that? Because of this. You see, What If Punisher... What If Peter Parker Became the Punisher came out. This is the second of Spider-Man What Ifs and also the second in 2 weeks of What Ifs.
Yeah, and I know you were interested in this because you wanted the What Ifs to
return. I was a big fan, a big proponent. This one is, of course, written by Carl Potts with art by Juanan Ramirez.
Right.
Okay, so if you are unfamiliar with What If... What If is just this fun little idea. It's an experiment, if you will, that lasted 20 years, maybe more, actually 30 years. But it's a series of books where the Watcher, normally a Watu, in this case,
Oh my god.
oops.
We've broken everything.
I've broken the entire internet. Hang on. There we go.
There, we fixed it. Yay.
But yeah, so What If was a fun little series that kind of went by the wayside. It was a series about, like, what if something different happened in the Marvel Universe? What if we change this one thing and then we tell a whole story about it? Used to be a testing ground for artists and writers and stuff like that.
Which was smart.
Which is a really smart idea.
And it's also, like, it like, really gets it out, like, of their system. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, I got this crazy idea that's not going to work in continuity.
Right, exactly.
Let's just throw it in here.
And maybe it's not even the strong enough idea to work past one whole episode.
Yeah.
Or issue, I should say. And that was definitely the case in What If Peter Parker Became Punisher. It felt the most like a What If book. The previous issue, they did What If Flash Thompson Became Spider-Man.
Right.
Totally disposable. Complete waste of your money.
Okay.
Like, someone could give you a recap in, like, maybe 30 seconds, and you'd be like, oh, I don't want to read that. And that would be it. And that's what's amazing about that is, that's basically what If is. Like, I went back and read a whole bunch of What Ifs to prepare for the return of What If. And what I found was, most What Ifs are utterly disposable.
I've read a couple that I've really enjoyed.
Oh no, there are some diamonds in the rough.
Yes.
And there are a lot of fun ones. But by and large, I mean, there's like hundreds of issues of What If.
Yeah.
And they're not all gonna be winners. And in this case, it's funny how, like, exemplary this was. What a perfect example. It epitomizes what it was like to have What If in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it was just a standard What If book. What if Peter Parker became the Punisher? Well, he'd kill people.
Okay, yeah.
And what's amazing is, like, I don't want to ruin it because some people might not have read it yet.
Yeah.
But we do that on this show anyway, so I'm gonna preface this by saying spoilers.
Spoilers.
He starts off so the What If cover is actually the best part of the book. Because you're like, oh, it's a fun little Punisherization of the Spider-Man costume. So I guess the idea is Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man, and then, like, instead of, he kills the burglar, and then because he kills the burglar, he decides he's going to punish everybody. He's a superhero, so obviously he kills one person.
Once he kills one person, he can't stop.
He has to kill every
everyone.
person.
Yeah.
And that is, like, not quite, but kind of exactly what it is. But then I was like, oh, and he'll switch the costume from red and blue to black and white, and it'll be a whole thing. No, he starts off by making it black and white, and he calls himself, like, the Spider Punisher or something like that. It just sucks. Like, it's uninspired, it's silly, it's kind of dumb, it doesn't really, like, mean anything, it has no weight. It is a What If book, but here's the thing. If the book was $1, it would be awesome.
Okay.
Because, like, who cares? And that's how What If should be. What Ifs should be kind of like, well, because, like, not the biggest and bestest artists and writers are working on the book, and because it's kind of disposable, and because it doesn't matter in continuity, why not just make it $1? Here you go. But when it's 6 or 5 or even 4, no. Just you have to save your money because there's so much other stuff out there.
This review of this book, really, I didn't know where you were going with this because you were so like, yeah, this is a what.
I was so excited about this, about it coming back, but no, it's not great. But it's like it's exactly what you'd expect from a What If book. So, like, if you, like, hunger for the old school What Ifs, go to your dollar bin and buy them for $0.25, and you have hundreds of issues to get.
Go to your dollar bin.
Yeah.
But buy them for $0.25.
But get them for $0.25. Yeah, no, you've got a dollar bin, you got like 20 What Ifs. You go, okay, what can I get for these? And they're going to go,
what if I paid you $0.25?
Yeah, what if instead of giving you $13 these 13 issues, I gave you like $6.50?
That's like 50 cents, but that's not bad.
That's fine. Totally worth it, but this issue, disappointing. Disappointing, but like in every way that you expect. It's just not worth the price.
Okay.
It's just not worth it.
I am sorry, though, because I knew you were really kind of excited for this.
Me too. And then I saw the preview for the What If Ghost Rider. I'm like, that looks like crap too. Oh no! And, like, I love What If, and I like to see it back. And I think it's such an easy book to make because they write themselves.
Right.
But
like, maybe
you can't charge.
Maybe since it is like akin to what If used to be, that means that occasionally we will get one that is.
Should be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I agree. I think so. At the very least, I was gonna say I thought you were gonna go like maybe make it digital only.
Ooh,
and then make it cheaper, but I don't know. It was just not great. Just not worth it.
I'm sorry.
Ben Bastian, hi. I just wanted to say how much your show means to me because I don't really have many friends with an interest in comic books. So thank you for doing what you do. Well, thank you, Ben, for watching the show. Thank you for the super chat. But thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us.
No, it's always hard when like you have interests that the others around you don't, because you're excited to talk about it, and
yeah, it's rough. Like when you have something that
right,
like
and occasionally you get someone who's just like, no, I'll tell me about it, but then they're like more explaining it than just
you're
generally,
trying to sell them comics instead of like actually just telling them what you
exactly. So yeah, I hear you. It's rough.
Yeah, it was, and this was rough. Mm-hmm. So we're in the same boat, my friend. Okay,
I'm ready.
All right, get over here. Infinity Wars #4, which is written by Jerry Duggan with art by Mike Deodato Jr.
Okay.
I was when I first read this first issue.
Yes.
I was like, this is not very good.
Okay.
But the art was really good, and so I'm like, and everybody told me how wrong I was because I didn't quite get it.
Okay.
I've read the first 4 issues, and I can tell you, like, definitively, this series is not very good.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. It's a damn shame. Gamora, everyone except for Gamora refers to her as Requiem because that's the nickname she got as the bad guy when it was going to be a mystery, but then they just threw it away. Mm-hmm. The idea here is that Loki is in the not amalgam Marvel universe, and he's trying to like collect people. It's like House of M, but like somehow a little more inane. And instead of just inventing a character like Bendis would have done, Duggan forgivably just uses Loki, and he's like, okay, so I need help from Emma Frost. Emma Frost and Wolverine are merged. I'll just split them because I'm Loki and I can do that.
Okay.
And so thankfully we don't Layla Miller up this thing where it's just,
right,
I'm a character who can advance slow-moving plot lines, and that's my mutant power.
Right. I mean, it is interesting that, like, okay, so Gamora uses the power of the Infinity Stones to
fold the universe.
universe.
She snaps her fingers, which halves the population of the universe by merging them with each other.
Right. But are we saying that Loki is more powerful than an Infinity Stone?
Right.
And that he can separate at least one?
I don't know.
Like, that's where, like, the whole idea of, like, magic and mythology tends to have issues. Because it's like, what's happening? Like,
I know.
Where are the rules?
Yeah, it's a mess. But the best part of the issue is the beginning when Loki's talking to Emma Frost, Wolverine.
Okay.
And he's like, at some point or another, you're gonna merge with the Phoenix Force because you always do. Because there's always gonna be some story where that happens. And when you do, you should come back here as the Phoenix and help me out. And so he does, like immediately, like the old man Logan Phoenix, Emma Frost character.
But that's funny because in Thor right now,
there's a Phoenix Wolverine.
Yeah.
I know, but this one is the one that's merged with Emma Frost.
Okay.
Anyway, he helps out, but he doesn't stick around, and it's like a fun little moment. But in any case, he gets help from he creates like a ragtag team of friends that are going to help him, like stop Gamora or whatever.
Okay, so wait, so we have Emma Frost and Wolverine now that they're split, but then the other
the Wolverine Phoenix character they leave, but they give him an Infinity Stone and then they leave. Also, Wolverine's back, even though, like, in the Return of Wolverine, like, we're doing a whole thing. It's a mess. The whole thing is, the continuity's all over the place.
I have questions I'm not even going to ask.
It's not even worth it. What matters is, like, it's... If you turn your brain off, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
But even then, you get moments where, like, the art suffers because Deodato's clearly on a budget, or not a budget, but like he's budgeting time,
right,
and he's trying to like just make the best looking book he can at the time that he doesn't have.
Yeah, and
so you get like really, really weird looking Gamora, or not Gamora, Emma Frost panels.
Okay.
And it's just
is it Moondragon?
You do get Moondragon and Phyla-Vell and other characters, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah,
and we're setting up the future.
Lockheed?
Yeah.
What a weird team.
I know.
Okay.
I know. They also like Kang the Conqueror's merged with Ms. Marvel, and they split them up, and they get like Hulk and Scott Lang are merged, so it's like Little Monster.
Was she, instead of like Kamala Khan, was she like Kamala Kang?
I assume so. We don't get into it. All I do know is like she makes it like Loki gets a team together to go get Adam Warlock because only he can help, because the whole world is trapped in the Soul Stone. And Gamora's trying to like
Watchers.
Yeah, and then there's Watchers, and it's like, Watchers, cool. Like, so there's promise, but it's just like, who cares? Like at this point, like who has the patience for this anymore?
Okay.
Like
I understand.
I don't know. It's just rough. It could be really cool. The Infinity Warps are more of a fun idea.
Yeah, and again because
then,
that's more of a nostalgia
Right. Well, it's just
Like,
Marvel going
Factor-
like, okay, so everybody really is still talking about those amalgam characters, and like older people who remember it are starting to like want fan art and stuff of it. Can we do that without DC? Can we just do that? Can we capture the magic of amalgam without working with the other 50% of what amalgam is cool?
Yeah.
The answer is no, more or less, because like as much as I like the idea of merging characters, like we had one where it was like Old Man Logan and Old Man Rogers and it's Old Glory. This is back when with an old episode we did with Joel, but like I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
They're fun ideas. It's kind of silly, and like it doesn't quite work. It's not like nearly as kitschy and fun like the Arachnite, where it's Moon Knight and Spider-Man. I don't want to see. I don't care. Like I just don't care. But anyway, who knows?
Right.
But it's fine.
I getcha.
I get why people like it. It's not for me. I'm looking forward to like maybe the next event.
All right.
Jumping into the super chats and hopefully a book that you've read. I want to talk about some super chats here. Zyko the Psycho. I asked you on Twitter if you'd consider a back issue on Spider-Man Back in Black, but I never asked if you asked you what you thought of it. Also, I'd like to see some back issues on Nightwing and Red Robin pre-New 52. Fair enough. I thought it was a cash grab because Back in Black was clearly in like a forced narrative because Spider-Man in the movie was wearing a black costume.
Okay.
But Straczynski wrote it, so he did a good job with the story. It's a fun, cool, neat story, but it's clearly driven by something that was never going to increase sales.
Right.
But at least the people who did the book drew the freaking black costume correctly, which apparently is like hard to do nowadays. Mr. Roboto, why isn't there a Marvel character called Ragtag? I don't know. Excellent idea.
Yeah.
Denial. Namor was right. Words I never thought I'd type. I know. Oftentimes, the most controversial people have the the most forward-thinking ideas. Pricey Eddie 40. What's your take on Spider-Man Noir? I think it's cool. Always had a fondness for him, but never been able to narrow it down. I like the first volume better than the second, and so forth.
Okay.
On Denial, everything about this event is cool except the actual event. Agreed. Literally. No, you're right. Like literally everything about this event is neat except for reading the book. The book itself is kind of a
really funny.
kind of a mixed bag.
It's really funny.
So Tiffany, what else came out that you dug and read?
So can I go back 2 weeks?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of cool books that came out a couple weeks that we didn't get a chance to weigh in on, and maybe you missed it and you didn't get a chance to buy it.
Well, really, what it is, I need to really very briefly talk about Doctor Strange from 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Issue number. Come on, brain. 6. It's the beginning of a new story arc called The Two Doctors. So like we just wrapped up the whole like Strange in Space story arc.
He's not in space anymore?
No. So like clearly what happened was, now maybe this isn't clearly what happened was, it feels like what happened is they were like, Mark Waid, you're gonna write Doctor Strange. By the way, it's gonna be going on during this whole Infinity Wars thing, so we need Strange in Space so we can like join in and like.
So we can go get an Infinity Stone and then come back. So
and then if we do that, you can tell whatever story you want.
Okay.
I mean, whatever story you want.
Here's
Just
the thing.
do this.
The story where he is in space clearly is like an original idea.
Kind of, except for the fact that like he doesn't have magic and he can't remember why.
Oh,
and
no.
He gets it back and he's totally fine. He totally like destroys the Magic Stain in like a really cool way, which I didn't get to talk about. Like I was even in a book before that because like I swear I haven't talked about Strange in forever.
No, it's true.
I didn't get to tell you this, but like the way he defends the Earth from the Magic Stain, who like shoots at this like big, it's a magic missile. It's literally a giant magic missile at the Earth. He tells Kana he like puts plans and coordinates into her brain. I look like I'm doing the
you're gonna kill me.
And then she flies in a circle and like does all these moves and creates the seal of Ashanti, which protects the Earth from it. So it's just cool. Anyway, but now that that's all taken care of, he's just like, let's go back to Earth. I'll buy you a coffee because you've never had that.
Because you've never been to Earth, I assume.
And like meanwhile, like back in the Sanctum, like Doctor Strange, who looks like Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange, is there with bats, and he's just like, there's another Strange coming.
Okay.
And so like he shows up and then they fight.
Okay.
And
wait, he just.
Like
we don't know who it is.
Space Strange shows up to the Sanctum where like Jason Aaron Strange is, who's just like he does like I don't know who this person is, but like they think they're Doctor Strange, and like the one who showed like the one we've been reading shows up. He says like, who the hell do you think you are?
But the one that they showed in the big page reveal was wearing the Jason Aaron outfit.
Yes, and he's the one who's like in the Sanctum.
Okay.
So then like our Doctor Strange from the Wade run shows up and he is wearing like this crazy armor that he created, right? And it's cool, right? So anyway, so they fight for a while, and then like Bats helps out a little bit by taking out Kana and such, and so remember remember when this whole series started, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a little bit of a theory as to Mark Waid writing this book and a character that would show back up.
Yeah, the kid, like the girl from his miniseries, The Doctor is in, or whatever.
This is why the Doctor is out. This is why I am pretty much 100% certain that they said, write this other story. You can do whatever you want.
He's like, I want to do that. I want to bring back my character. I told you. I remember being like, hey, if Mark Waid's going to write it, I bet he brings back that character.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yep. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you knew.
But, yeah, so, like, it's basically her usually, like, looking like him. And so, like, she, like...
Oh, she has, like a projection spell?
Yeah, so she, like, she turns into herself, Casey, for, like, a second.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, for a moment, he knows who she is. And he's like, and then he can't remember, and she leaves.
Oh.
And, like...
Why can't he remember?
And that's what the whole question is, right? And then we go on this whole journey where, like, there was a demon who Waid also created...
Mm-hmm.
Who used to hang out with him, who I think was also in The Doctor is Out, but he's definitely in some other stories, but, like, who apparently back, like, they talked this whole story where it was just, like, there was, like, a big problem going on, and, like, after the whole thing happened with Casey, and, like, she
lost her soul?
Yeah, like, she died, didn't die?
Yeah.
And, like, he was, like, trying to find her. He's like, I won't stop looking for you.
Yeah,
so, like,
but then he does.
He was, exactly, he was so, like, put upon with grief and, like, trying to find her that he was too distracted and was going to not be able to defend the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So this demon was like, hey, here's what you're going to do. I want you to just give me your memories
Yeah.
of, like, her.
Okay.
And then I'll give them back to you when you're done fighting this, like...
This other threat that
Yes.
that needs your attention more?
Yeah,
What, because he's going to be just so distracted?
He was too distracted and he couldn't win.
Oh.
So he gives it to him, and then Strange defeats the, like, I think her name's Jindo, and she's gone. And then, like, Strange is like, cool. Well, he doesn't remember that he did anything, because, like, he gives him the memories, and he's just like, you swear to give him back to me? He's like, I swear. And then, like, he's like, swear what?
Oh.
And so, like, Larry is like, don't worry, I'll be back. And so he leaves, and then Jundo shows up because she couldn't come back to our dimension anymore, and she kills Larry. And so the memories are lost.
Why would you do that?
Well, because Jundo was mad because she's like, it's because of you, Larry, that he won.
Oh.
Like, you were the reason that, like, I got defeated by Strange. So I'm
Okay.
gonna kill you.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
So then Larry's mate shows up because, like, he summons Larry. He's like, I think he might have something to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he summons him, and, like, his mate shows up, and his mate's like, hey, yeah, you suck. Because my mate is dead because of you. But, like, here, have your memories back. And he's like, oh.
Oh, no.
So
That's hilarious because it's also like Mark Waid meta writing because it's like because no one referenced or remembers
Nobody wanted to deal with
that
this
miniseries
character.
he wrote.
Well, because here's what's so funny is like she was a student of Strange, which is pretty much what Zelma was. And
Yes.
it's like he's like, no, you go away forever, and I'm gonna bring my character in.
Exactly, because she does. She shows up at the beginning of like that first arc when Mark Waid was
And just,
writing,
nah.
and she's like, "Hi, I just want to let you know you're never gonna see me again."
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, okay. So
And like you weren't really a big Zelma fan anyway,
I
so
wasn't,
who's really
but like
disappointed?
I'm not disappointed, but I'm just like, this is so dumb. This is like
Yeah. Well, it's like, so how about we just deal with what's being written and not like keep like every time you change the guard, you throw away everything you did before.
yeah, that's what it feels like. And so like now they're dealing with that, and like Kana and Bats go off to another dimension to find the demon who originally took her soul, because he's technically the one who last saw her alive. Mm-hmm. And when they get there, he's like dead.
Oh no!
And like he's like, it's real bad.
Okay.
Too. And also, Casey as Strange goes to Damon Hellstrom.
Okay.
Because like they have like an armory there of magical items, and like she's like, I'm gonna need them basically. And
Okay.
like he's like, what are you talking about? You know you can't take these out. And then she like does something to him. So like she's like really powerful right now too,
Okay.
and angry. So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I just thought that was so funny that it was just like, yeah, you were just champing at the bit to bring her back, and you had to tell this other story so this Infinity Wars thing could work. And now that's get out of here. And he's got his magic back, and it's all fine.
Yep.
Just right into it. The first issue in this new arc, she's back.
That's hilarious. That's great. I mean, that's like that's what it was expected, but also like good. Now he can do something with this character. Because like she was fun.
She's fine. Like it doesn't really matter.
Well, they didn't. He only had like 4 issues or whatever to do something with her in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like
a miniseries. By the way, the miniseries spun out of the Bendis era,
right?
When Bendis made Doctor Strange lose his Sorcerer Supreme status,
right? It would have been
like that's how long we've been waiting for this character to come back.
It would have been more interesting if and again, I'm saying more interesting based off of the first issue of this new arc, so I don't
Right.
really know if it's more interesting. But I feel like it would have been more interesting if he like worked with what was there already and used Zelma, like as though Zelma were Casey, like Zelma's like Casey's
Yeah.
soul was in Zelma,
Right.
And so like she's always been tied to this.
That would be really cool.
And it's like, hey,
No.
I'm honoring what you wrote, but I still want to like bring my character back.
Right, so I'm gonna retcon it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like-
then, like, you could also do the thing where it's like, oh, we got merged, like, or whatever, and after Infinity Wars, like, they got split.
Right, exactly. But like, if you did the other thing, that's how she's always like Zelma's had a penchant for magic because like her like the soul that's in her has had that. So
Right.
like, I was like, that would have been a little cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact too that like he had memory loss right up to when he didn't have the magic anymore, and now we're dealing with something that has to do with memory loss.
Yeah.
But like that clearly happened a long time ago. It's kind of sloppy and it's a little lazy. And it's just like, wait,
That
when
sounds
did
about
this
right.
all happen? So I don't know. So okay.
Wade's like, I don't care. That's fair. I mean, like, at least we got to talk about it. That's
Yeah, so I did want to talk about it. I'm still gonna keep reading it because like I'm kind of more like fascinated at this point, like what he
Yeah,
plans
like,
on-
what are you gonna do now,
yeah,
Wade?
what did you had to bring her back? Where are we going?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with it? So no, Zelma's not back.
Zelma's not back.
It's the first Zelma, the character that Wade created in a book called The Doctor Is Out.
Yeah, the doctor is out.
So check that out.
Or
That's
not.
fun.
It's fine.
You know, if we're gonna talk about books that came out like 2 weeks ago that we didn't get a
Just
chance
real
to talk
quick.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, just real quick. We're
Okay,
just
yeah,
going back in
I'm
time real quick.
I'm not gonna waste your time on this too long because no one's gonna want to read this. But just in case you do, and you watched our episode of Back Issues on it, Batman the Max #1 came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah.
It's written and drawn by Sam Keith. If you watched our episode and you know and you were intrigued by anything that happened, or you saw the 13-episode series from MTV called The Max, you're totally caught up and ready to read this book. He throws away everything he did that nobody liked.
Oh.
Like basically the last 23 issues of the book, and just goes like, oh, it's just this. So here's just a fun, like, kind of, it's kind of still like hard to grasp crossover because how many of us still remember the Max anymore?
Okay.
But it's really fun and the art's really cool, and he doesn't go too off the beaten path when it comes to like proportions and everything. So definitely check it out if you're like curious at all. If you have any interest in the Max, you might want to read this one because at least Batman's in it.
Right.
And Keith has respect and reverence for the character, so like Batman isn't a dumbass. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I have an opportunity to make my character look cool and Batman look really dumb. No, like, Keith thinks the Max is dumb, so like he's making Max look like a dummy. And it's fun, and it's cool, and I dig it. I'm gonna read the whole series, and either way, like, there's a, like, even if you're not a big fan of like how Keith draws things now, there's a ton of awesome variant covers for this series for some reason, and everybody, like, it's like everybody was like, I want to draw the Max. I haven't got a chance to do that.
Oh,
so like
okay.
there's like 1,000 variant covers for this book. Most of them were at New York Comic Con, and I didn't get a chance to get it. Like, I didn't bring my Max. I was like, oh, maybe I'll have everybody sign it.
Oh.
But incidentally, New York Comic Con, Sam Keith just showed up. He wasn't on the list, but he was
No.
there. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't bring my Max #1.
Yeah.
Or my other 4 copies of the Max
No,
#1.
and that was actually all thanks to a fan.
Yes,
who,
somebody in the line when you were meeting Jock mentioned, like, was showing us his signatures. He got a signature from Sam Keith. I'm like, when did you get that? He's like, literally an hour ago upstairs. And I'm like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
So that was really cool, and it was
Yes.
a bucket list check that I never thought I'd ever get a chance.
It's one
to
of those
do.
examples where, like, when you're at a con, like, oh, like, talk to people.
Yeah.
'Cause you never know what someone else is gonna know.
No, it's true. So yeah, that was really cool. Getting back into the books that came out this week. Do you have any others that came out this week?
I do, and like I kind of have to talk about a book that came out 2 weeks ago too, because you guys don't forget, like, if you've been reading Justice League Dark right now, we're like participating in the Witching Hour.
The Witching Hour.
It's so funny because that was an old DC, like early DC and then Vertigo title.
Yeah.
Of like short stories and stuff like that called the Witching Hour, and now I mean, like, obviously it has its own connotations, but you know what I
Sure.
mean. But this started 2 weeks ago in Wonder Woman and the Justice League, and then this week was in Wonder Woman number 56. So those of you who are Wonder Woman fans, and like, this is just this, like, they warned you at the beginning, they're like, you have to read this other book first.
Right. That's fair. And by the way, like, not a bad book to read.
No, not at all. I have had a blast with this series. Wonder Woman number 56 was written by James Tynion IV with art by Emmanuel Lappuccino. I apologize if I didn't get that correctly. It's incredible. It's literally like in Justice League Dark, we've of course been dealing with the Other Kind and the Upside Down Man, and this is focusing more on Wonder Woman and her mark. And it's the mark of
under the
Hecate.
tiara. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hecate's back.
Okay.
And it's about her really, and the fact that like it's not quite Horcruxes, but it's Horcruxes in a sense.
Fair enough.
Where we get this fun backstory from Cersei today.
Oh.
Like Wonder Woman visits her island with like the Justice League Dark folk. Among them now, Constantine's like on board.
I'm in the book now.
I'm
for
here.
real.
I'm part of it. He kisses Zatanna at one point.
Oh.
Because he's just like, we're all gonna die anyway.
Right. She's like, you first.
Later on, he's like, I'm sorry about that. she probably shouldn't have done that. And she just kind of dances around it. Like she doesn't want to like say yay or nay. I was like,
okay.
Cute. Dead Man has also shown up in this, of course.
He's great.
But the idea is that back in the day, like before gods walked the earth and all that, like Hecate was here. She's like older than most of them, that kind of thing. And she took her power and she split it up into 5 pieces and she put it into her witch marked.
Okay.
And whenever one of them would die or whatever, she'd take it and she'd put it into somebody else, right? But the idea is that one day she would want all of her power back and like she could like supplant all of the magic in the world with her own power and then she'd be in charge of all of it.
Okay.
And so like it's almost in a way because of what's going on with the Other Kind and the Source Wall and the Tree of Wonder that this is her opportunity. She's just like, here we go. Like, this is my chance to really like shine and take over, and I'll push the Other Kind back and it'll be totally cool. But of course I'll be in charge of it all because like Hecate used to be like a force for light, but now she's like it's corrupt evil, and like Cersei's like, the reason she's my patron is not because of anything good I've ever done, but it's because of my anger and wrath.
Okay.
And so like, but Cersei's on board. She's like, it's so funny because initially she shows up and she's just like huge. You got the crazy costume on and she's just like, yeah, it's on. And she turns all the guys into animals.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's hilarious. And when like Diana takes her tiara off and shows the mark, she just turns into like, she's this really like normal everyday sort of like outfit that she like wears, where it's like a little jacket and like all that stuff. And like she's like, oh, I am so sorry. Things are gonna get way worse for you. And she hugs her and it's just like, whoa, when Cersei's like down on your level being like that, it's bad.
That's really bad.
It's bad.
That's awesome.
But essentially like we have seen 2 of the other witch branded. One of them was Witchfire. And she was in the bar with no name, or with the bar with no doors. Not the bar with no doors. The other bar.
Oh, yeah.
Too many bars, everybody.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
But basically, the idea is that like there are all these magic users in the DC universe who've never really excelled to like a Zatanna level,
right,
or a Constantine level. They just they dabble and they go for these little meetings, and then other characters like who are like higher up in ranking come up and they encourage them. They're like, no, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. And they all meet. And Witchfire's there, and Witchfire's like feeling funky, and all of a sudden like her like mark shows up, and then Hecate like comes into her and like becomes her, and she takes her power back. The Oblivion Bar. Thank you so much. She ends up burning most of them alive, and Constantine's also there, and he's just like, he's just sitting there, he's just like, I can't believe what I just saw, and he's just like, honestly, like, I thought I was dead as well. So now, I want to make sure I get this name right, because it's Manitou Dawn, who is a long-standing character, apparently, who's Native American, all that. She also has the mark. And it's cool when she, like, her mark reveals itself. Hecate doesn't immediately go in her. She sends her off. And when she uses her power, she's in the desert, and the desert turns to glass.
Oh, that's cool. And
it's a really cool visual. And I'm like, that's really neat. And, like, this is how Dead Man gets involved, because she's sent off to destroy Nanda Parbat, which is, like, a city from his lore and, like, from...
Yeah.
Yeah. So she goes off to destroy that. And he's like, I need your help. You guys have to help me with this. And, like... Wonder Woman's plan is to get Cersei to help her. Okay. And, like, Zatanna's completely against this. She's like, this is a bad idea. And, like, Zatanna's plan, or Wonder Woman's plan is, Cersei, since she's your patron, is there a way that you can help me to control
her
power?
Yeah.
And she's like, that might work. Let's give it a shot. And like, so Donna's like, this is probably the worst idea I've ever heard.
Yeah, but she said that in like the first issue too.
Right? But because she's like, well, like my dad told me like in a dream that like one of us had this power that could like destroy or like save magic. Clearly that's what this is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe it's not.
Probably not though. It's a red herring, yeah.
But yeah, at the end
those.
of the day, Cersei totally helped her to do this.
Okay.
Also, in the previous issue, I think it's in the previous issue. I'm not sure. But Diana and the rest of the Justice League Dark folk, or at least Zatanna, go to the Justice League themselves, and they're like, things are bad, and they explain like what they're gonna do, and like.
That's cool. I like that.
Jon Stewart's going to go talk to the Owens and like see if they have any information on like what's happening on the other side of the Upside Down Man, and Aquaman's going to go see if any of his like mystics or magicians have any like answers.
Okay.
And so Diana's like, cool, all right, and they leave, and then Hecate shows up and she tells them to forget that it ever happened.
Oh no!
And so they just go about their business like they never spoke.
Aww.
And I'm like, what a great way to get the Justice League out of this.
Yes.
Like, where is anyone? I mean, obviously Superman's not going to be very helpful in this because magic.
Yeah.
But like anyone else could be helpful.
Yeah.
Nope.
That'd be really cool.
Nope.
That's a cool way to like explain it away.
Yep, because she's so powerful. She's just like, nope, it's cool.
Nice.
No, you don't remember. You don't remember ever talking to us. She does that earlier when they do a flashback to Bahalta as well.
Cool.
So it's a really...
You're on your own.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. I cannot wait to see where it goes. And the next issue of The Witching Hour will be in Justice League Dark. And it's actually coming out, I think, next week.
I think you're right.
I think it is. I'm not sure because it's been like pretty much back to back to back. It's
I
awesome.
don't know.
Yeah, just been really enjoying this. Tynan's really hitting it out of the park, and like it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like, everything you do after this, I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I'm just like
I'm kind of digging this.
Yeah, and I'm like not sure it's ever gonna live up to it, but like
that's
I don't
DC.
know. I don't know. So great.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, man. Let's jump into some super chats before we forget, because I've been neglecting you guys, and I want to do that. Mr. Roboto, is Doctor Strange the Supreme off of Earth? Like, is he Sorcerer Supreme when he's not on Earth? I think in I think in that story they said he was going to go visit other Sorcerer Supremes.
Well, no, like he's going to go visit other people on other planets, but that's always like a weird thing because it really depends on the person who's writing it. It seems like because some people say like he's Sorcerer Supreme of Earth and that's it.
Right, but it's also of this dimension.
Of the dimension,
and like Jupiter's in this dimension.
Yeah, and so like I think it really depends on the person who's writing it what being Sorcerer Supreme entails and what your responsibilities are necessarily. In this it acts almost more like it's just Earth for Wade, but I definitely have seen others do it where it's more of a universe spanning thing.
Yeah, I think that's more likely.
Which is why he has to astral project so much since he's doing so many things in different places.
Griffin Broyles, would you read a Marvel Dragon Ball Z crossover? Haha. No.
I would, because I would pitch that you use Iron Fist. Like,
that'd be fun.
Right?
Yeah, but that's not what's going to sell books.
It might. For those who are interested in DBZ, like, Iron Fist might be the easiest
gateway character.
Yeah, and, like, that would be pretty cool. I mean, he has, like... He's the defender of Kunlun. And
yeah, no, that's true. Denial, Tiffany, DC Nation said, the Rogol Czar outranks the Upside Down Man as, like, most badass villains. And here I thought Robin maiming people was the most upsetting thing this week.
I disagree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think Rogol Czar might be one of the most overrated characters ever made, and he's only been around for like a few months.
I was gonna say that's really my personal opinion because, of course, I tend to sway if like it's between like an action thing and a magical thing. Of course, I'm gonna sway that, and on top of it, he's more of a horror magical thing. So for me, 100%, the Upside Down Man outranks Rogol Czar. But you know what? That's everyone's own taste. But like, I think the Upside Down Man's way creepier.
Oh yeah, big time. Michael French, hey, first time watching live. I can't stay because I'm working. Do you think that we'll ever see Marvel Comics start to change to Marvel 2099? No. Thanks for watching, man.
And good luck at work.
Yeah, good luck at work. Sorry you can't stay, but we do appreciate you not only watching but also jumping in on the super chats.
Yeah, very kind of you.
No, I don't think they're ever going to do that. I think that if ever, like, you're going to see the Marvel Universe switch over to 2099, it'll be an Age of Apocalypse event. Like a Secret Wars type event, where it's like we finally go to the future, and we do, a year, or everything's... It's funny how, like, the decompression is like, take a book that would be done in 2 issues and make it 12. And yet, they're like, take an event that would have been cool for like a year and make it work in like 2 months.
Yeah.
But then have delays make it 6 months.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but I think 2099 will be an event. That
yeah, I mean, 2099 needs to be its own little thing, almost like the Ultimate Universe. So maybe one day they'll merge that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. Or Ultimate 2099.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Ben Wilson, love your work. Great bus rides to work listening. Thank you very much. I'm glad that we
yeah.
can accompany you on the ride. And Martin Outreletta helping us out. Maybe he's learning how the super chats work, or maybe he's just helping us out. Either way,
Which
Martin,
we appreciate.
thank you very much. Either
Thank
way,
you.
you're the man. So yeah, Justice League Dark. So Spider-Man came out.
Yeah.
Actually, it's all Spider-Man. I think from here on out.
It's the rest. Nothing more but Spider-Man.
Yep.
So here we go.
This issue.
Oh, sorry.
This issue of Amazing Spider-Man, of course, is written by Nick Spencer, but this time Humberto Ramos is on board because Ryan Otley's got to take some time
Okay.
to catch up.
Well, he was also recently at a... No, that doesn't really work necessarily.
Yeah, no. Ryan Otley was at New York Comic Con.
He was.
We got to talk to him. He was super nice. This story is that, like, the Kingpin basically puts out a hit on Boomerang in the, like, bar that Boomerang and Spider-Man are in.
Right.
Spidey and Boomerang have to defend themselves from, like, all these D-list villains who are trying to kill them. Peter Parker is there instead of Spider-Man, and they're not split anymore, but it's just that he's not dressed as Spider-Man.
Okay.
Boomerang is also Peter Parker's roommate.
Yes.
And so he, in a previous story or issue, invites Peter to go with him to trivia night because he knows that Peter Parker's a big Spider-Man expert.
Right.
To try and win some free cash.
To win, yeah.
And Peter does. They had a rule where it's like you can't come in unless you are a supervillain, and Boomerang's cover for Peter is that he is the liar, and that he's great at lying, which is kind of like funny because that's what Peter is. He's a big liar.
Yeah.
He lies to everybody he loves.
But he's also like really bad at it, like
Yeah.
on the spot.
I know.
When it's not like to protect them
It's
from
true.
his secret identity.
But ultimately, the story goes that like Peter and the Boomerang escape with barely, and Boomerang tells a story because in an earlier story, Peter tails Boomerang and sees that he's playing cards with his old Deadly Foes of Spider-Man team.
Okay.
And he's like, you're all just hanging out, and they're talking about like the next job. But they're like, oh no, we don't talk about work here at the poker table. Like,
Okay.
we're just friends. And it's like, it was a cute little like throwback, like, hey, look, it's like, because Nick Spencer wrote Deadly Foes of Spider-Man or Superior Foes of Spider-Man, and so
Okay.
he's like, and since Boomerang and all these other characters were like kind of like brought up by Nick Spencer, let's bring them back in some kind of fun, organic way, even though things like really ended poorly for them in the previous story. So Peter reveals that like he and Spider-Man were talking, and he tailed Boomerang to their like location, and he saw their like their clandestine poker game.
Okay.
And then Boomerang reveals that like they're all life model decoys, and all of them want nothing to do with him, and he just wants to see his friends. And so he's like, it's this really sad story about how like Boomerang's just all alone, and so he has like phony like robot copies of like the best time of his life, so he can like escape for a little while, and that makes Peter feel really bad for him. And so ultimately, like, Peter like forgives him / feels bad for him, and he's like, so I think the idea is they're going to explore the idea that Peter and Boomerang are going to be like buddies.
Oh.
And that's cute. I like the idea, and I know it's like coming to a head, so we'll see how that goes. But it was also like that's a very Spenceronian way of humanizing the Boomerang.
Right.
Incidentally, also that blue centipede dude shows up, and it turns out like he also has designs on Spider. Like he's been like messing with a bunch of different like classic Spider-Man characters. Mysterio, now the Kingpin, who's also mayor of New York.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, I don't like him.
No, he's really creepy. I had initially tossed out the idea that maybe like because Nick Spencer wrote Damnation and Mysterio was depowered, that like this creepy centipede guy is actually Mysterio. That's why he knows who Spider-Man and Peter Parker is. That's why he has like a vested interest in protecting him.
Mephisto? Or?
Yeah, the Mephisto's like walking around as this creepy centipede guy, and like this is all he can conjure.
That's gross.
I liked that idea. The alternative theory is that it's Harry Osborn, and that he like that due to the Mephisto thing, he basically remembers that because it's basically a walking corpse, and he can conjure like horrible dead, like carrion feeding bugs and stuff.
That's gross.
So his whole like visage is connected to death anyway.
Right.
So and because it was kind of like a really big cheat that they brought Harry Osborn back to life, because his death was actually probably one of the most interesting stories with Harry Osborn in them.
Right.
We're establishing that like maybe it was a mistake, or maybe Harry remembers being dead, or but like that the centipede creature is Harry Osborn.
Okay.
So it's either for me it could be Mephisto, like that's just kind of like I'm freaking out and I know there's one person on this planet that owes me a favor.
Okay.
Or it's Harry and he's like, I'm freaking out, man.
Right.
Either way.
Okay.
But it's a character that knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Right. You know what's funny is I feel like I haven't seen Humberto Ramos' art in a really long time, but like when seeing Kingpin like emote,
yeah,
like I forgot how like
expressive.
Yeah, his art is.
Yeah, I dig Humberto Ramos' art, even though it's very stylized.
Very stylized.
I noticed the chat is also power ranking different versions of Tiffany. Which is fun, and I want to thank you all for participating in that.
It looks like Muffet Tip is winning. So
I think so.
it's fair. I don't think I can take her.
Yeah. Silvery Cricket saying weird that White Rabbit is in that book, even though she's been dead for months. Yep. That's how you write comics the Marvel way.
Well, she's
You
back
ignore
or
what
something.
everyone's doing. And then finally, oh wait, no. Do you have another book?
I don't. Like
Okay.
literally, I have 2 other things I have to like read, but like there are some books, not people, but like I just really like to take my time with. And I know 2 weeks ago the next Magic Order came out, and it's one of those where I'm just like, no, I need a good cup of coffee and a little
just to read
time
it.
to just enjoy that book, because I really do love that book so much.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, then we are going to round out this new comic review with the book that, damn it, I did it again.
Just click over on the other. There you go.
Sorry.
Excellent.
Oh, you can't even. They didn't
No,
see it.
they didn't even know.
They didn't even know, but here it comes. It's Spider-Geddon #1,
Woo!
written by Christos Gage, based on a story by Dan Slott, with art by Jorge Molina. Let me just read it. It just says right there. Jorge Molina.
Yeah.
You saw it too. This is a straight-up sequel to Spider-Verse.
Right.
But I tossed out this theory that, like, wouldn't it be fun if they did a Spider-Man Spider-Verse story? Because, like, no one seems to like Peter Parker anymore in the Spider-Verse. Like,
Okay.
after Spider-Verse, Peter Parker looked like a huge idiot and a chump. And then, after Clone Conspiracy, like Kane and Spider-Gwen and a couple other characters all thought that Peter Parker was like an idiot clown moron. And so I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if the whole damn thing was about Miles? And apparently Gage thought so too. And so the idea here is that, like, Doc Ock is running around in a clone body of a merging of Peter Parker and Otto Octavius's DNA.
Okay.
In a perfect new clone that has kind of like spider powers, but also he uses the octopus arms.
Okay.
He's running around as the Superior Octopus, which is a terrible name because what is he? Is he more superior than the original Dr. Octopus? Because if that's the case, then it has to be the Superior Dr. Octopus.
No, he's more superior than a regular octopus.
Technically, yeah, we all are, unless like you're fighting one and it's bigger than a submarine or whatever. But like, the Superior Octopus is a stupid name, and as I understand it, it's going away because they're going to bring back Superior Spider-Man.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Sure.
Because he basically is Spider-Man.
Right.
Anyway, the idea is that like Doc Ock steals a bunch of cloning information, and so he makes like he's cheated death. He's defeated death because he can make clones.
Okay.
And
then he's just going to make as many Gwen clones as he can. And
No,
he's
that's-
just going
that's-
to jump into a big pool of them.
that's Miles Warren.
I
Doc Ock
know.
doesn't care about
every
Gwen.
Every time we say anything about clones,
It's just a big gross thing.
He's gonna do something with Gwen, which is just like, why would you do that?
I know.
He's just like, I'm just getting on the bandwagon.
Exactly.
I figure, like, you know what?
Well, there's all this extra DNA of her everywhere.
Gross.
So basically, a bunch of like fun characters show up, and they're like, Miles, the Inheritors. You remember Morlun and his dumb family? They're like, they could escape by jumping into clone bodies that Doc Ock is making. Like, basically, that Superior Octopus has unwittingly created vessels for the Inheritors to jump into.
Okay.
They go to stop him, and then the Inheritors show up.
Right.
And then I stop buying this book forever because the Inheritors are back. And God help me, do I not care about the Inheritors? And I know that a lot of people really enjoyed Spider-Verse, and that actually is the title of a fun upcoming Spider-Man movie that I'm probably going to really enjoy. But you know what I don't enjoy? Energy vampires. Or Morlun. Or 4 rip-off characters of Morlun. I didn't enjoy Spider-Verse. I'm one of the 3 people who didn't like the book. And so doing a direct sequel that doesn't feature the one Spider-Man I like, not for me. Like, I don't like redundancies. So, like, having a universe of Spider-Mans kind of sounds annoying to me. I don't like the fact there's, like, 19 Robins. You know, like, I don't like a lot of that stuff. I like there being, like, a pure archetypal thing. Here's the characters. But, like, anyway, it ain't for me.
Yeah.
If you liked The Inheritors, or Spider-Verse, or if you like Miles, or if you like Doc Ock as the superior octopus, you're probably going to like the story because it's going to feature most of them.
Right. It would have been more interesting if the Inheritors had shown up and then immediately were all destroyed.
Yes.
And it was something else.
Yeah, I remember talking on the Elseworlds Exchange when Spider-Verse was coming out, and I was like, wouldn't it have been cool if they actually used Spider-Man villains that weren't stupid and, like, weren't totally lame? Because I hate Inheritors and Energy Vampires, and I was like, remember the time when Spider-Man's villains weren't these, like, dumbass, like, romance characters? Like, why wouldn't you just use Spider-Man villains? If you're using a Spider-Verse and it's a whole bunch of, like, different alternate reality versions of things, hey, wouldn't it have been neat if, like, when Doc Ock was a bad guy, Doc Ock goes to the multiverse and collects, like, the Sinister 60 and gets, like, a million different alternative versions of, like, the deadliest versions of Spider-Man's villains, and then have them attack Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse? And you know what I mean? Like, Doc Ock being like, I'm done with Spider-Man, and knowing, you know, it's a merge of Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, where it's like, because Owlman has a plan where he's like, if I make a choice and there's a universe that has the opposite choice, then nothing matters. So I'll have to destroy the multiverse in order to make the only choice that matters. If Doc Ock's like, if there's a million universes where Spider-Man exists and he always defeats me, then I'm never going to win. So I'll destroy the multiverse so that I can beat Spider-Man in every reality.
Right.
And so, like, Doc Ock or Green Goblin or a bunch of other versions of them all, like, unravel the web of life. That would be a story that I would be like, oh, that's kind of neat. If you have to make Spider-Man a multiversal universe, like, trotting, you know, epic character of biblical proportions, even though all he was a poor kid from Queens that fights, like, scientists gone wrong.
Right.
That was what I liked about Spider-Man, but whatever. But they're not doing that. And maybe they will later, because Christos Gage arguably is, like, more hungry and less weary with Spider-Man than Dan Slott is.
Right.
I know. I don't care about Inheritors, and I don't care more about Morlun. He's in one good story, and it's the one he showed up in.
Okay.
The first story he was in.
Okay.
And he's good because he's like, oh, I'm a bad guy, and then he gets defeated, and you're like, yes, you have to watch him lose, because, like, there's nothing fun about having a character that's deliberately obtuse and deliberately arrogant.
Right.
That's like orchestrated to be a bad guy who's also, like, unconscionably frustratingly arrogant. If you then pull the rug out from under him, right? That's the satisfying conclusion. But if, like, he keeps coming back going like, nah, then, like, he never learns a lesson, he never eats humble pie, and he's never truly defeated. And that sucks. Then he's actually justified in his bullshit arrogance.
Or he's a crazy person and he just keeps doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different outcomes.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, well, until you invent, like, 1,000 characters that are just like him, that, like my dad, if you beat me, my dad will show up, and he's more powerful than me because he's bigger. Like, get out of here. Get your power card bullshit out of here, please.
Yeah, how'd that turn out for you last time?
Yeah, exactly. But, like, even still.
Well, this time they got Spider Soom. I saw him on the cover.
Yeah, good.
I got him at home, too.
We have him, too. Yeah, anyway, so Spider-Geddon #1 came out. You can read it and enjoy it. If you like Spider-Man, and if you like the idea that Spider-Man is, like, as important to the universe as, like,
right. Well,
as Galactus, then please, by all means,
right.
read the
And
book.
like, I'm sure for a lot of people who are Miles fans, like, this will be
and hey, like, and maybe they're playing with the idea that I had originally, where it was like, maybe the Spider-Verse hates Peter Parker, and they're like, get the hell out of here, you suck.
Yeah.
Miles is way better. Like, at the very least, then, you know, well, who knows? And maybe Gage is like, no, I agree with you, Sal. Like, I'm gonna whittle down the Spider-Verse. I'm gonna kill all these Spider characters. I'd be like, yeah, please. I like some of these guys. Like, I like Spider-Ham, and I like Spider-Noir, and I like, Spider-Girl from Mayday Parker's universe. But, like, if this is what it takes to get Spider-Man to be original again, kill them all. Let them die. So let's jump into the super chat.
Spider-Ham is one of those characters I never thought in a million years you'd be like, I like
him.
Spider-Ham.
Well, I don't have a grudge against him.
Right, okay.
He never does anything that's like, oh my god, enough of Spider-Ham. I was actually disappointed. Like in Spider-Verse, I thought like, well, they're obviously going to kill him.
Right.
Because like nobody cares.
Right.
And because like it's a cheap and easy way to show the stakes while also making it kind of sad. Like kill the cute cartoon character. But then they didn't.
Yeah.
And then they made him like a supporting character in Spider-Gwen, and you're like, somebody needs to get a lid on this spider book.
Right. It seems like a whole lot of birds need to be released.
Yeah. So let's jump into the super chat. Eric Meyer, date night, so I can't hang out, but wanted to support y'all. Looking forward to the next live stream, Forester Ranger. Thank you very much, man.
Yay!
The live stream. Oh, scream.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use that in the next Elseworlds.
No, that's mine.
Fine.
No,
is it yours?
Yes, that's what he
Oh, right, because you did.
That.
Yes, because over on the Purple channel that you run, we're alternating between you playing Spider-Man and playing a scary horror game.
Yeah, which I think the closer we get to Halloween, it'll just become mostly horror games, and then I'll just swing back into the Spider-Man. But yeah, Force Ranger was the one who came up with live stream.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Denial, the X-Men Black books are pretty good so far. I've heard great things about them. I did read that one too. It's making Apocalypse interesting and making me wonder where it's all leading to. Your feelings are not misplaced. They're building towards big stuff with X-Men.
Nice. I was just going to say also, to Eric Myers, like, have a good date night.
Oh, yeah. Good luck on your date, man. Mr. Roboto, hey, Sal, a vampire is a spider villain. Yeah, Morbius hasn't been a legitimate villain for Spider-Man in 10 years, if not more. Also, I don't like Morbius. I think Morbius is silly and stupid. And even in the 90s, when he was the most popular, he was never a Spider-Man villain.
Well, here's the thing, and everyone should just know this, and I think it's really very obvious. Sal does not like vampires at all.
No, I think vampires are dumb. Overall,
he doesn't like the characterization of them.
No, I think they're too easily defeatable. I think they're too arrogant for no reason, and I think there's not enough send-ups of them. So, yeah, I don't like vampires.
Doesn't like vampires.
No, but Morbius is Spider-Man villain, yes, but he's also yes, when he was created, he was, and then no one used him, no one. And then in the 90s, they were like, let's make him an anti-hero. And he was more of a Doctor Strange supporting character or a Ghost Rider character.
Right,
he was a Spider-Man character.
He really fits more in those realms, in
my
opinion.
Of course. Yeah, and just because they appeared in Spider-Man and he fought them doesn't mean that they are a Spider-Man villain anymore.
Right.
Just because Sony wants to make a Spider-Man villain movie about Morbius doesn't mean that he has to be a Spider-Man.
They just want to make a vampire movie.
They just want to make money. And Silver Cricket, the Inheritors should be Morbius villains. I agree. The Inheritors should be anybody else's villains. Fine with me. I think, and I've heard this before, the Inheritors should be Black Panther villains. Because Black Panther has a shortage of villains. But also, Black Panther is a totemic character who has they feed off life energy, and then they could there's a beautiful scene where they burn all the heart-shaped leaves or whatever in the movie,
right?
It's just anyway,
I get it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, but I mean, especially with Black Panther though, you have the heavy science element as well, so that could work. I don't know.
It could work. It's just, you know what? Don't use them. How about that? How about just you have enough. You have enough other characters. You don't need them.
Johnny Blaze should just show up and deal with that.
That'd be amazing.
He's the king of hell now.
I would love that. I would love it if Ghost Rider fought them and he just
Well, he's not Ghost Rider, right? Well,
I'm just saying in general.
There's a little crown of fire.
Yeah.
Just
cool.
Nah. You can hang out with Mephisto.
Yeah. Anyway. So let's recommend some books that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up.
Let's do it.
Justice League number 10. Road to Drowned Earth.
Nice.
Maybe we'll do something fun on an upcoming show with a special guest.
That would be pretty cool.
Who knows if that's going to happen. This is written by Scott Snyder with art by Francis Manipul, so it's a must-have, because Snyder has not screwed up the Justice League yet, and it's great. It's just a great series. Pick it up, read it, enjoy it.
I just tried to type anything, and it was just pretty much the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Well, that's fair. My last recommendation for this week includes Marvel Knights Daredevil by Bendis and Malieve trade paperback called Underboss. If you've never read Bendis' series on Daredevil, here's a great opportunity for you to jump in and try it out. It collects Daredevil 26 through 31 in 1998. It's cool and great. Marvel Knights Daredevil might be one of the best eras of Daredevil ever. And having read Daredevil End of Days recently, I think Bendis might be one of the best Daredevil writers. And so any opportunity to read or to get into Daredevil through Bendis is a good time.
Okay.
Wookie Drew, by the way, saying that we rock.
Oh, thank you.
You rock, Wookie Drew.
All right, so for me, this is like another big week for me, or I'm just like, okay, apparently I'm getting like just on and off now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I prefer to be more spread out. It's a little, I don't know, it's easier on the, like, when you see that total, like, it's just easier when it's more spread out over the
I
weeks
agree.
as opposed to being like, oh, okay, that's a lot.
Right?
I'm just going to go right into it and say, yes, this week, October 17th, Justice League Dark number 4 will come out, which is part 3 of the Witching Hour. So if you've been following this,
It's Justice League Dark?
Yes.
Which one's this one?
So this is where it gets confusing because it's Justice League Dark number 4, but it's Witching Hour part 3. So they spread it out over Wonder Woman and Justice League, which is where the Witching Hour number 1 was, and then this past week was Wonder Woman number 56 for Witching Hour number 2 or part 2, and then back to Justice League number 4 for Witching Hour part 3.
Nice. Okay.
So if you're keeping up with it, I mean, look, if you're reading Witching Hour, you're probably reading Justice League Dark to begin with, so you're probably
just gonna
picking
pick
this
up
up anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and I can't wait to check that out. It's like one of my number 1 books right now. I'm just so excited for it.
Agreed.
Over in the land of Vertigo, so we might as well just stay close to DC and Magic. Those of you who are huge fans of Lucifer number 1 is coming out this week. It's the reinvigoration of this this book and this like series in a sense. It's kind of natural that they would bring this back. Lucifer ended up being an amazing sort of spin-out character that like really took on a life of its own to the point where it's like some people probably don't even realize the ties.
No. Right? Yeah. No, it's true.
But yeah, it's based on what they showed us originally in that first Vertigo kind of sampler of what's going on. It looks like it'll be a very interesting story. So there you go. Also, Infinity Wars, another one of the amalgam books that I'm going to be definitely interested in picking up is Weapon Hex. I mean, come on.
Get it?
It's Scarlet Witch and X-23. Looks awesome just from the cover. Will it be awesome? I don't know. I enjoyed, again, like Soldier Supreme, but it was like who cares? I just want to have something fun to read. But I am going to pick that up regardless. Mr. and Mrs. X number 4 is coming out, written by Kelly Thompson. I've been really enjoying the hell out of this series.
I know, and it's actually really good. I was hoping Kelly Thompson was going to be at New York Comic Con. She was not.
It would have been really great. I would have loved to have told her what a great job she's doing on this. When we last left Rogue and Gambit, they had been captured. And we're going to see how they get out of this whole thing.
Okay.
Thor number 6 is also coming out this week, written by Jason Aaron. We're still dealing with All-Father Thor and Old Man Phoenix and all that stuff going on there.
It's dope.
Along with, I mean, really not Old Man Phoenix at this point, but now it's Doctor Doom and all of his pieces that he has accrued over the many years that have apparently passed, along with his army of monsters, including like Fing Fang Foom and the like. So this is right up my alley. Totally. This is like Aaron like doing some of his best for me. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, in the Amalgam universe, it's Man Thing Thang Thoom.
Come on!
And it looks exactly like you'd imagine. I read that in Infinity Wars Sleepwalker number 1, which came out 2 weeks ago. Which, by the way, if you ever were curious about Sleepwalker, read that, you'll get it. Also, it plugs Silhouette, who is a character that I forgot about and would love to see a series about if they were to give it like the Marvel Knights treatment.
So is it just a big like dragon made out of vines?
It's Man Thing's face on Fang Foom's body, but it's also made of like moss.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And Griffin Boyle's asking, is Predator Spider-Man crossover interesting or nah? The amazing thing about crossovers is there's always the potential for it to be good. We mentioned that in our Transformers New Avengers crossover. Great opportunity for it to be cool and squandered in every way. Spider-Man Predator could be awesome or terrible.
Yes.
Spider-Man Predator is basically like, what if Kraven were just more insane or more methodical or more deliberate? Like, you could do a like Kraven's Last Hunt-esque Spider-Man story with the Predator. I would almost give it to like somebody like Donny Cates or somebody who has like a really strong like horror background.
Okay.
But that being said, honestly, like the third best Predator story of all time is Batman vs. Predator, and it's written by Dave Gibbons, who drew Watchmen. So like, I have no idea who has a tremendous Predator story in them, but like it could come from those unlikely sources.
Right.
Like I don't know, but I would love to see it.
Right.
And we're gonna see it hopefully one day because Dark Horse is gonna lose all those licenses because because Disney owns Fox.
It'd be kind of cool. I would kind of also like to see a Predator Black Panther crossover.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be way more
Like,
cool.
just really would like to see that. And just real quick, just because I didn't get a chance to really talk about it,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. But I saw a couple people chatting about it. But like, yes, 2 weeks ago, Sandman or The Dreaming #2 came out. So
Yep.
if you were interested in what was going on in The Dreaming that came out, it really focuses on Merv, the Pumpkinhead kind of caretaker, and just like a little bit of backstory there. It doesn't really progress much plot wise, except spoilers for the end of that issue that Merv calls upon Judge Gallo, who is a character we've seen before Sandman Universe, like when Gaiman was writing it, but he comes back in to dispense his own sort of justice among the Dreaming because Merv isn't a fan of kind of how things are running, so it's probably not going to work out. Which
Fair
is
enough.
so funny because there was a quick moment for me, which I don't know why I would think this because we've never seen a crossover like that, but like there was a moment when like there's like a 1-page image of who Merv is talking to and it's Judge Gallo, but like I was like, it's the Santa Killers. No, it's not.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I was like, why would I think
He's
that?
established in it though.
I
He
know,
does exist.
but like I was like, Judge Gallo literally was in like closer to the end of Sandman.
Yeah.
So it's like obvious, but like I literally thought Merv had called the Saint of Killers, and I was like,
Friggin'
that's
amazing.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Just
Sorry, I scratched
that's
your
okay.
ear. But you know what? We've run out of time, so we're going to
I
dedicate
think there's another super chat though.
Yes, Daniel Prato, excited for Kelly Thompson to take over Captain Marvel. Dude, me too.
Yeah.
Especially after the terrible retcon in Life of Captain Marvel, which was a series that I was like, this could be cool. Read the first issue, was like, it's not going to be. Everyone told me I was wrong until issue 3 or 4, and they were like, oh yeah, no, it actually is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I tell you.
I don't feel like that.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm excited too. Just because hopefully Kelly Thompson is taking over this book with the same passion she took over Rogan
Broken
Mr.
Gambit
Mrs. X.
and Mr. Mrs. X.
Oh, just Mr. and Mrs. X. Just because of the fact that like I know she has a passion for those characters and a nostalgia for a lot of like the older '90s X-Men as well as the '90s animated series. So like there was a lot of like love there. So hopefully she's taking on this project with the same love because I think that's where a lot of her success comes
I have
from.
no doubt that because of her love for Rogue,
Yeah.
that there's going to be some appearance by Rogue in the upcoming.
Those two have a history, so it's just pretty natural.
Yep. But yeah, I think she's gonna. I think if anyone's gonna fix Carol Danvers, like Kelly Thompson, you almost couldn't do better.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about
That's
that.
it's a good. I'll check it out.
I'm gonna pick it up too.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine.
Well, I guess I'll just read your copy. But we're gonna do a separate show at some point in the near future where we talk about New York Comic Con. Unfortunately, it's no time for this now.
Yeah,
Gotta get going.
Yeah.
But we will see you on the Purple Channel if you are of a mind or of the ability to go over there and swing by and enjoy some streaming.
Swing by.
Oh ho ho, thwip. All right. Do we have any other things to talk about before we go?
I don't think so.
You know, just thank you so much for hanging out with us, and of course for the super chats. We do appreciate every single one of them, and we hopefully we addressed everybody. If we did not, let me know. But otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter @TheRealZoobs, @SalSaysWhat. Find us on the Purple Channel in a little while, and we will see you then. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
So long.
Bye, guys.